Hello there, it's Tournament and a TeaBreak from Britwatch Sports. I'm Ros Satar
George Bellshaw.
And we're somewhat giddy actually because we are on the verge of actually getting out of here at a decent time.
Yes, I'm quite happy.
Even though he sounds quite miserable, he's really quite happy.
Yes, I am there's plenty of cheer in my life and I'm ready to get out of this place. And I got locked out of my accommodation last night and was having to scream in my limited Spanish, hola, hola, por favor, to let me in. So I'm not very popular in my building, so I need to leave relatively early today
and skulk inside.
Favour, yes.
It's been quite a day. I mean, I think we're probably going to be fairly WTA heavy today, but of course, let's start with King Kyle. Kyle Edmund arguably got one of the best wins of his career today with a three-setter over Novak Djokovic. I thought he was going to take a set off him. And then when Djokovic came back in the second set, I thought, maybe he's back to normal. But it was some great fortitude by Kyle Edmund to get the win. And, well, what do you think?
Yeah, I was really, first of all, impressed with Kyle. I thought he played really well. The first set, his forehand and serve combination was just brutal.
On fire.
And Djokovic couldn't deal with it, to be honest. Djokovic adapted quite well. He started peppering the Edmund backhand a lot more. And to be fair to Kyle, although that's never been his strongest shot, it looked a lot more solid today. These conditions seem to really suit him. He's taking the ball really well. He guided many backhand winners past Djokovic down the line in the latter stages. I just thought on the whole he was so wonderfully solid. And to be fair to Djokovic, I thought Djokovic played pretty well today too.
Yeah.
I don't buy into the narrative that this was Edmund beating the guy Taro Daniel beat a month ago, for example. You know, Djokovic played well against Nishikori. He played even better today, I thought. Mm-hmm. We really just have to give a lot of credit to Kyle. The big worry for Djokovic is this record he's got in deciding sets.
Yeah.
That's where I think he's struggling now, is in the kind of clutch moments where it really matters. Is he playing well enough? Is he mentally there?
That's surely just a lack of match sharpness. I mean, you know, he's played a couple of matches here, a couple of matches there, and his level is getting better each time around. You know, let's not take anything away from Kyle Edmund. With the exception of maybe the sort of come back after injury and illness in the States, where he himself was not match sharp and couldn't get the wins. You know, he's been building up solidly, and you know, and Djokovic has too. I agree. I don't think he played badly by any stretch of the imagination. I just think that maybe the clay court season's come a little too quickly for him. I don't know that grass is his best surface. But I would fully intend to see him pretty close to his best by the time the US Hardcourt Series comes about.
Yeah, I mean, the grass is a difficult one to call how Djokovic will do, because so many times we see him just turn up at Wimbledon and win it. I mean, he's won it 3 times, which is remarkable, really, for a guy who barely ever see on grass apart from for 2 weeks. You know, he doesn't normally bother with Queens. No. He did bother with Eastbourne last year, which he won. So, you know, when he's at the peak of his powers, he's good anywhere. And Djokovic is probably the most versatile player we've seen in terms of reaching the heights of beating Rafa on clay and beating Roger on grass. Yeah. You know, he's probably the most versatile player ever. And
I want to give him credit for he was very gracious in defeat. You know, he's obviously seen Kyle come up through the ranks. He's played him 3 times before. The last time was a little over a year ago, and you know, he himself said, I mean, you were talking about Edmund's backhand down the line. He said that, you know, the one thing he's improved for sure is that backhand. And that was always Edmund's weakness. Now, if he can improve it on a surface that, by all accounts, is a great leveler, you know, by the time he gets to grass, which isn't his best surface, you know, he's added a couple more tricks to his bag. You know, it's good stuff that we're seeing from Edmund right now.
Yeah, and it's really worth noting that this draw is really open now for Kyle. I mean, Goffin next, I think, is actually the toughest player left in that draw. I mean, you might say Zverev is the toughest guy in terms of having a history of winning Masters titles, but I've not been that impressed by him this season, and I think he's flaky enough to randomly lose in the 3rd round when he's got an easy draw kind of sat in front of him. You've got Raonic in there, you've got Shapovalov, but these aren't guys who are traditionally brilliant on clay. No. You know, they're good players, but Kyle looks really comfortable here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him beat Goffin. I wouldn't be surprised to see him take out either Raonic or Shapovalov. And once you're in the semi-finals, who knows? This could be a really big week for him.
Yep, that's great. Now, really, in terms of watching the rest of the men's matches, we've kind of been a bit lax.
Yeah, I mean,
apart from Rafael Nadal.
Rafa is pretty much what we would have said about him for the last 2 years on clay, essentially. He did very well. He made it look pretty routine. Obviously, closing in on that John McEnroe record of
that he doesn't
winning
care about.
the most sets on a surface that he doesn't care about. But I think it's quite neat. I think, it doesn't matter in terms of a Grand Slam title, but I think in a show of consistency of just how good he's been on a surface, if he wins 50 straight sets on clay at this level, I mean that's phenomenal. So he might not care, but I'm very impressed, Rafa.
Yeah, I mean, I think the amazing thing was, we were sat in the press room, and not only could you hear the roar because the press centre is actually underneath the main the main court. You actually felt it. You actually felt this thing. Sorry, we're just a little bit confused and discombobulated because Daria Kasatkina has just taken out Garbiñe Muguruza. But anyway, we'll get onto that in a minute. But yeah, Rafa started out very well. It looked routine. I'm not going to count him out. Well, I can't really see anybody challenging him. Not even Kyle.
No.
Let's be honest. But yeah,
he's going to win this tournament.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, and that's fine by you, is it?
That's fine.
Okay. Well, that's
unless Del
fantastic.
Potro does a madness, but I can't see it.
So let's get on to the women. So now with the end of this match, the women's quarterfinals field is set.
Yeah.
Halep still quite impressive, but she came up against a bit of resistance with a Pliskova, which I've likened to a set of buses. You don't pay any of them in the first couple of rounds, and then two come along at once. She paid to the other Pliskova, Christina, who gave her a little bit of trouble in the second set. Maybe because she's a tricky lefty with it, and that probably troubled her a little bit. I think that's why she gets on with. And when I say gets on, I mean obliterates the other Pliskova, because she doesn't have to contend with that out wide nonsense that Christina can do.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed by Christina today. Obviously, she's never been at the same level as Carolina, and she's not someone I've really looked at and thought you could win a Grand Slam title or anything. But she showed a lot, particularly in the second set. A really good fight. I thought Halep served very, very well on break points against her today. Even if she wasn't necessarily at her best in the second set, I thought she dealt with a lot of problems quite well. She's still the person to beat. And I think, I'm expecting her to win the title, really.
Yeah, I can't see anybody against Halep right now either. I don't think, with the best will of the world, the other Pliskova, she started really well against her in Australia, and then Halep just got into her groove and completely wiped the floor with her. What I like about Carolina is she's got such a dry sense of humour, because I remember asking her, you started really well, and before I even had a chance to finish the sentence, she was like, yeah, that's all I did. So she knows that she's got a hands full with that, and she was saying she might go back and look at her at the French Open sort of battle that they had and try and come up with something different. But she's going to have to come up with something exceptional to beat Halep on clay in the form that she's in right now.
Yep, she's playing very well as well, Carolina. The win over Sloane today was very, very impressive.
Yeah. She made Sloane look
Stevens
ordinary.
Has had some good early round wins here, some confident early round wins here. So that was a really, really encouraging display. I think it'll be a good match. I think it's definitely going to be Halep's toughest test so far, and potentially throughout the tournament. Carolina's full of a lot of confidence at the minute. I still expect Halep to come through.
Yeah,
maybe three, but we'll see.
You think she might drop a set?
Maybe. You never know.
Ooh, exciting. Next up on our list, we're going to have Kvitova and now Kasatkina. I love watching Kasatkina play. I do try and do her jumping backhand, and my tennis instructor is just like, no, just don't.
Yeah, it's not an easy shot to pull off. That was a very, very struggling match with Muguruza there for both of them. But, I was saying earlier in the press room, I don't think Muguruza was playing at a great level here in Madrid full stop, but she's been fighting every point. So for Kasatkina to overcome so many little setbacks in that match, she was up a set and a break, she was up breaks in the final set, and Muguruza kept clawing back, and she still got the job done. So that's really encouraging. I think she's playing really well, Kasatkina, so that'll be a good match. Kvitova, not really had any problems so far.
No.
I wouldn't say we've seen her necessarily push too hard. That'll be a good match. I'd expect Kvitova to win, I think, but I
would, because I think emotionally that's probably taken a fair bit out of Kasatkina. But wow, this is one of those times I'm really glad that I didn't put in for win, lose, or draw. But anyway, if you're wondering why we always get interrupted, at the moment we're the only place that we can actually have these. The last few we've actually either had them in the press room or now in the media restaurant. So yes, so we do apologise. Moving swiftly on, I'll tell you who's been under the radar but pretty impressive is Caroline Garcia.
Yep. Could win the French.
I don't think it's going to be this year that she's going to win the French, but I do see it in the next few years for sure.
She's playing really, really good stuff.
It's not just that though. She's got that sense of confidence about her now that we were talking to Carole Bouchard, a French journalist, over dinner, and she was saying that back in the day, Garcia would prefer to be put in the car park than anywhere on Chatrier. But then, on her way to the quarterfinals, I remember watching her literally getting the crowd involved. I mean, that's just unheard of for Garcia. She's one of the nicest girls on the tour. She's one of the friendliest, one of the smiliest, and she wears her heart on her sleeve, so you know what she's feeling. She's been broadly under the radar here. She did well in Stuttgart. I think if anybody's going to upset the apple cart, it'll be her. She's got a tough one though against Carla Suarez Navarro, who scrapped her way to that win over Svitolina, and she scrapped her way today over Bernarda Pera, who took out Jo Konta. Suarez Navarro on clay is a tough prospect, but I tell you what, Garcia is looking pretty damn good in my eyes.
The only thing I can see Garcia coming unstuck on is, I think, with as far as Navarro, you're playing the crowd as well.
But it's not her crowd.
It's not, but it's probably been the loudest noise of any match I've seen, really. I think because Rafa's is so one-sided and kind of straightforward. Actually, Muguruza is probably comparable to Suarez Navarro, but in terms of the volume you hear from that Suarez Navarro crowd, because everything's just been so frantic and randomly tight. I think she really kind of, I don't know. I think it's going to be a really interesting match. I think I would still back Garcia, but I wouldn't want to play Suarez Navarro here. I think it's a tough prospect, and she's a tough cookie. I think
that's going to be one to watch for tomorrow. Which leads us on to Sharapova and Bertens. Now, this is an interesting one because George and I spoke to Caroline Wozniacki, who now has obviously lost her grip on this cycle of Let's Race the World number one. But interesting enough, obviously, she's been there and she's done that. She's been the world number one. She's had to put up with a lot of flack about being the world number one without a slam. She was very gracious, I thought, about my question about Halep and how well Halep is wearing the mantle of the number one, especially having missed out on those slams. Clay is not her thing. She makes no bones about it. And Bertens is in mighty good form right now. I think this is going to be a big I mean, Sharapova was impressive today, but I think we're going to go back to winning ugly if she's going to win it all.
Yeah, I think this is a really, really tough one to call as well. As all of them are, I think they're really a nice lineup of semi-finals.
I think it's a great lineup of semi-finals.
Really cool
yeah, you got me at it now.
Sorry, my bad. Sharapova was impressive today. She's playing big points well. She's serving well, or certainly did today. I was really impressed with her serve. I don't know. I think I do kind of fancy Bertens though. I must say, I think her form looks really good. A 6-2, 6-2 over Wozniacki's impressive, even if this isn't her favourite surface. It was quick as well. She really steamrolled through. I think she might go all the way. And in
fairness for Sharapova, there's going to be no shame in going out to Bertens on clay. With the lack of match practice that she's had, I think to have reached the quarterfinals and to go out to somebody of Bertens' calibre on the dirt, it would be nothing to sniff at. Really.
No, absolutely.
And I think we'd have a pretty decent lineup.
Yeah, and from Sharapova's perspective, this is the best week we've seen from her. for a while.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, she won that title in China at the
But
back
this
end
is
of
going to
last
be the
year,
best.
But this is the biggest tournament she's played well at since she's come back. Really.
Yeah, and this is by far her best match of the season. She was. It was almost like watching the old Sharapova pre-break ban, however you'd like to put it.
And if it is the old Sharapova continuing against Bertens, that will be very, very close and may well win. But you just don't know exactly the level Sharapova will play at in the fourth match into a tournament compared to, you know, she's only been playing once a week for a while and having little breaks off. You know, is she ready to go 4 or 5 matches through? Don't know. We'll find out.
And you'll find out tomorrow. But for now, that's all from us, seeing as everybody, the world and his wife, are descending upon the media restaurant and giving us very strange looks for sitting on the sofa, whispering to each other. I've been Ros Satar from Britwatch Sports.
And George Bellshaw from metro.co.uk.
Thank you for listening.